Hello, hello, all you lovely people. Professor Gray here, congratulating you. We did it! Whoa, we're halfway there! Yes, we're probably all living on a prayer too. But hey, we're getting there. So now we're starting up with this module, unit number 4 of the course. Yes, number 4. Yeah, unit number 4, where we're considering utilitarianism and its limits. Recall that utilitarianism is an ethical theory that is particularly concerned with the promotion of the greater good. The greater good. That is, the good for the community, for society, for the world. Even. So, right, utilitarianism is not egoism. We are not only concerned about yourself. With utilitarianism, we are concerned about everyone who is affected by your actions. That includes you, of course, but not just you, everyone as well. And so we'll continue in Unit 4 of the course to explore questions of normative ethics. Recall in the normative ethics, always good to review our terms. You guys probably are tired of this. Well, it'll be drilled in there. Anyway, normative ethics, what is it? Normative ethics is about stating and defending basic moral principles. And so we will continue to discuss how utilitarianism does understand the basic moral principles. And we'll see in this module, this unit, some problems that emerge with this understanding. And so, of course, in the last unit, I introduced you all to the concept of classical utilitarianism, the ethical theory that Jeremy Bentham introduced. And classical utilitarianism, as we saw, has lots of elements going on there, lots of things that make it, classical utilitarianism. And again, it's worth emphasizing, noticing how all those elements come together to make, a claim about normative ethics. It's saying something important about normative ethics because this is how classical utilitarianism does understand the basic moral principles. And so, for instance, we saw how the first 3 elements of classical utilitarianism come together to make a pretty important claim about basic morality, about our basic moral principles. So we can put that slide back up there. That is, we have consequentialism, emphasizing that morality only focus on the overall goodness of outcomes. Then we have welfarism, say that the overall goodness is overall well-being, and then hedonism, saying that overall well-being is overall happiness, and that overall happiness itself is itself overall pleasure and absence of pain. And so we can put these together to say that very important core tenet of utilitarianism, which says that morality only focuses on overall pleasure and absence of pain. So that is the first major aspect of classical utilitarianism. And that is, according to Bentham, that's telling us something pretty important about our basic moral principles. Focus on pleasure and absence of pain for everyone. And the second major aspect of classical utilitarianism comes from that total view. And it contains those 3 claims there. I won't summarize them. You can rewatch the old video where we went in at length with the birthday dinner example to kind of explain how the total view worked. But so I won't go over those again, but just hopefully you remember the upshot and main point of the total view is namely that in morality, we can measure individual happiness and then aggregate that individual happiness to measure the group's happiness. And so, the total view is saying something important about morality, namely that the thing we care about, happiness, can be measured and quantified and calculated with mathematical precision. So what we see coming out of classical utilitarianism is 2 pretty major claims, obviously with lots of parts within them, but the 2 major, again, claims or tenets of classical utilitarianism are, first, of course, morality is only concerned with overall pleasure and overall absence of pain. That's the first tenet we've seen. And then the second tenet is the idea that overall pleasure and absence of pain can be measured by summing up the aggregate utility of individual people. And so in this unit, like I said, we're going to see some challenges to these components, these 2 major components of classical utilitarianism. And we'll also see how utilitarians try to respond, because utilitarians weren't stupid. They knew that people would see these problems. And so how did they respond to these challenges to come up with new forms of utilitarianism that try to correct the classical problems that we'll be talking about? And so ultimately, though, by the end of the unit, unfortunately, We will see why some philosophers do give up on utilitarianism and try to formulate a different ethical theory, which will then be the subject of Unit 5. But I'm getting a little bit ahead. You're like, oh gosh, let's just get this through this unit first. Fair enough. So in this module, I just want to focus on whether our basic principles of normative ethics should give such a high place to pleasure and happiness, to hedonism. Should normative ethics say that these are the only things that matter: pleasure, absence of pain, happiness, these ideas. But before we go dive into that, why don't we take our first break? This can be the stretch break, so get up, refocus the eyes. I know it sucks watching videos all day on a screen. It's killing my eyes too. I'm going to need stronger glasses. If this is done, my contact lenses will be so thick. Anyway, why don't you take that stretch, refocus the eyes, massage your brain.
Smithers, massage my brain.
Yes, sir.
Brain massage, I love it. And then we'll come back and look at some first challenges that we can see with classical utilitarianism. So I'll see you back here in a moment for that.